Greetings, students, and welcome back to more keywords and concepts from Chapter 2. So now we're moving into more how actual psychological experiments work and the ethics involved in that. So let's learn a little bit more about these things. So one of the first things we need to learn about are groups within experiments. So we have an experimental group that gets the experimental manipulation. So that's the people that the scientists do things to, right? We also have a control group that the scientist does not do things to, right? So say you're testing out a new drug. You're going to have a group of people that take the new drug. That's the experimental group. But you're also going to have a group of people that doesn't, and that's the control group, okay? Moving into a double-blind study, we're going to take our same thing from last time, our medication. In this example, neither the researchers nor the participants know which group is which. So even the people giving out the medication do not know which group is getting the medication. And that helps to make sure nobody's influenced or biased, right? And this goes back to this concept of an independent variable versus a dependent variable. So an independent variable is the one that's manipulated by the experimenter. So in our example, that would be the drug, right? You would decide how many people get the drug, that kind of thing. And in a well-designed study, this is the only thing that's different between the experimental group and the control group, right? Is just this independent variable. And the reason we're only changing one variable is we want to have a dependent variable that is consistent. So in our drug trial group, it's the group that doesn't take the drug, so that the researcher can measure the difference, right? Between the two things, between the people who got the thing and the people who didn't get the thing, right? So that's the difference between the independent variable and the dependent variable in an experimental group. Moving on. All right, we have a random sample. A random sample is one of the ways that we do these experiments, right? It's a subset of a larger population in which every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. We usually use computers to do this. We'll just put a bunch of stuff in a computer and have it spit out random samples so that it can be completely randomized. And then with random assignment, similar idea, any participant could, in theory, be assigned to either the control or the experimental group, right? So this is a way to ensure that we're not having all of one type of person in one type of group and all of one type of person in another type of group. If all the men were in the dependent variable and all the women in the independent, that wouldn't be very helpful, would it? So we have to do that kind of thing. And then when we talk about doing experiments to confirm that they are correct or accurate, we talk about replication. So one should be able to repeat an experiment and get similar results to the person who completed the experiment originally. And if you can't, that is a problem, right? The science should work. So I have a little note on here that in recent years, there has increasingly been concern about a replication crisis in many scientific fields. It's not just psychology. But some of the best known studies in the world can't be replicated, which is a little concerning, right? Like that's not good that we can't replicate these studies. So it really points to flaws within the original methodology of the study. So it's one of the reasons that we have all these different ways of confirming whether or not a study has been done accurately and in a scientific fashion.